book was all implementation. So Good evening. I'm going to call the January 7th Borough. Here.
Yes, we do. I'd like to recognize Pastor Seth Barstow from Victory Church.
Hey, let's pray. Father, thank you so much for just, man, everything you're doing in the Lititz community. We're so thankful for your presence. And I just want to pray over this meeting right now. I pray for each and every person in this room. I pray for each and every person around the council table. I just pray for unity. I pray for just wise decisions tonight and just great conversations. Cover each and every one of them. We're so thankful that they're willing to give up their time to serve this community. And I just pray an extra blessing over them. And just, like I said, be with this council, be with them tonight, give them wisdom and discernment, and let the meeting be productive. And we're just so incredibly thankful for them and what they do for our community. In your name, amen.
Amen. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, for God, indivisible, liberty.
Okay. We have two sets of minutes to approve this evening. The first is from December 23rd, 2025. Promotion?
Motion to approve December 23rd, 2025 council meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and the January 5th, 2026 reorganization meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, took care of that. First item up tonight are presentations, water and sewer rate study acceptance. I believe Rob's going to lead that discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. In Council's January 2nd packet, you received the 2025 water and sewer rate study. So tonight I'm just going to give you a brief executive summary of that study. Before I get started, just a quick historical background. Traditionally, the borough completed rate studies every 5 years, and those studies were led by an engineering consultant. Starting in 2024, we changed this process to go from an engineering-driven model to a financial analyst approach. We felt that this gave us a clearer long-term financial picture, especially around capital spending, reserve levels, and our rate stability. Going forward, it's our recommendation to do these studies every 2 years, giving council regular proactive insight into future expenses and necessary rate adjustments. So first off is we'll start with the sewer system, the sewer rate study. A snapshot of our current system is the borough operates a sewer collection system, which is all the pipes, mains, manholes out in the streets, and Infomark operates the wastewater treatment plant. Our system serves Lititz and Warwick Township, and we currently carry about $2.8 million in debt, which is scheduled to be paid off in 2030. Our financial trends for the sewer fund remain strong. However, we are starting to see a slight decline due to rising operating and capital costs. Fund balance decreased from 3.9 million in 2024 to 3.6 million in 2026. Our rate strategy moving forward. Excuse me, I gotta let somebody in. The last sewer rate increase was in 2018. The study recommends implementing a 2.5% increase every other year starting in 2026. Please note this was part of the 2026 budget. We feel this will allow for maintaining healthy reserves, avoiding large increases, and keep the system financially stable for the long term. The impact on the customers, the average residential user, the quarterly bill moves from about $122 per quarter to $125 in quarter, an increase of $3. I'm going to pause right there and see if anybody has any questions or comments on the sewer rate study. Okay. Next up is the water. Once again, system snapshot. The borough has 7 different wells, produce about $3 million gallons per day of water. And that is also, the water plant is also operated by Inframark. Our water plant serves both Lititz Borough and Warwick Township. The water system has no outstanding debt. The financial trends for the water fund, they are experiencing a much sharper decline than the sewer fund. Our reserves dropped from 3.5 million in 2024 to 1.8 million in 2026. Our rate strategy moving forward, like the sewer system, water rates haven't increased since 2018. The recommended plan in the rate study is to increase water rates by 2.5% every other year, beginning in 2026. Once again, this was included in your 2026 budget. The important thing to note here, even with these increases every other year of 2.5%, the water fund is projected to be fully depleted by 2032, meaning that we'll have to take further action down the road. The customer impact, the average residential quarterly bill rises from $42 to $43 per quarter. And the Lititz water rates remain the lowest of the 51 water systems that were studied within Pennsylvania. So that's it for the synopsis of the sewer and rate study.
Thanks, Rob. Do we have any questions from any of the council members?
No question, but as a member of the Water and Sewer Committee, I just want to say that this has given me great confidence in how we are looking at the financing of our facilities, and being able to pay those over time, as Rob said, with limited debt. We have, as some of you have heard me say before, we have a lot of our facilities are kind of reaching the end of their useful life, or components are reaching the end of their useful life. And therefore, we are seeing increasing maintenance and replacement budgets for some of our equipment, our facilities. Rob, I know one of the things that we've taken a really hard look at over the last couple of years is the capital expenditures. Can you remind me how far out we are currently budgeting for capital for these 2 facilities?
We went out 10 years this past budget season.
Okay, great. So that really gives me great confidence. We understand that any type of increase is challenging for people on fixed incomes. However, we also believe that having small incremental increases is easier than a large increase. And so we really took a hard look at these, the projected expenses, and settled on this 2.5% increase as the best proposal to meet the needs of our facilities and minimize the impact on residents, particularly people who struggle to make ends meet. So I appreciate the work of the Water and Sewer Committee prior to my joining. I've been on for 2 years now. And just really think that this approach to the rate study, as opposed to doing the engineering study, which we had been doing, is something that we should have confidence in. And I think if you have questions after you look over this anymore, I'm sure Rob would be happy to go through the report with you. It's a very good, thorough report. So that's all I have.
Thanks. Good summary. Any other comments from council?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is better for Mary or Rob, but I was just curious, is the concern to the residents why the scenario one or was it 1 and 2? The other scenario is about the weighted upfront or the level. It was, I guess, are you concerned that it's still run out? Was it 2032? Even with is that?
Yeah. Yep. I would say the other thing is, we're cognizant of is typically our actuals come in less than our budgeted capital expenses. So we didn't want to just go ahead and do that scenario 2 right off the bat if we didn't need to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good point and good question, Brad. We did, I mean, of course, anytime we see our fund balance getting so low, it concerns us. But because, as Rob said, the estimates tend to be a little bit higher, our actual costs tend to come in a little bit lower. We can't plan for that, but we'll be repeating the rate study every other odd numbered year. And looking at rate increases in every other even numbered year. So trying to get some predictability to that. So, yep, good question.
Yeah, thanks. Anyone else? Are there any comments or questions from the public on the presentation that was made? Anyone online?
No.
Nope. Okay. Do we need to act on this, or is
To accept the rate study,
accept the rate study?
yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'd look for a motion to accept the rate study presented this evening.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
And if I can just clarify that the motion to approve the advertising for the rate study will come up later in the agenda.
Thanks. The next item is resolutions. We have 2 resolutions this evening. First resolution is 1023. It's for the adoption of the ability to use a consent agenda. I think you all have in your packets that resolution. What the consent agenda does, and I'll read from the first 2 sentences of it, whereas many items of business require action by Borough Council, but are themselves routine and non-controversial in nature, it is desirable to expedite the public business and provide additional time for deliberation by council on matters requiring such deliberation. So what this does, exactly what it says there, we take items of very standard nature and we place those in the consent agenda. There is still an opportunity for council to ask basic questions on those and have basic discussion. If after that discussion you feel that you would like to have those pulled out, they can be pulled out by the motion of any of the council members, and they would be pulled right after the consent agenda. And in the order that they're pulled out, they would be discussed and acted on individually at that time. The public also has an opportunity to ask questions about any of the items in the consent agenda during this process. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Does the public have the opportunity to lift an item from the agenda and request that council take it out of the consent agenda? If, for instance, let's say there's more than just basic questions that are going to be asked, or is it only council who can request that?
Or the public can request that council pull it out. The public can't pull it out themselves.
Well,
So the
right.
public can request of any of the council members who feel the same as them to pull that out during
Okay.
that time when it's open to the public to discuss any of these items. And again, the idea of this is that we can take those every month things take care of those and then have more time while we're all engaged still, not tired, to talk about the rest of the agenda. So this is something that the Borough Code allows. We looked this up. Our solicitor prepared this resolution for us, so we know it's all something that is available to us as a Borough Council. So it's something that we will, as a group, work through. I'm sure a couple of meetings, what things we want in, what things we want out, and I think it's something that'll be a good tool as we just work through and have the opportunity to fine tune it. So
I just have, does anybody else have anything? I just have a couple of things that I would like to, I appreciate the intention of the consent agenda. And I do agree that there are routine things that we spend a lot of time, motion, second, approval, and voting, that this can really expedite some of that routine business. A couple of suggestions would be that when there is something like the handicap parking application, which I will probably request be lifted tonight, that includes the address of the applicant, so that the public is aware that that's the location that's being considered when they see the agenda. If we can do that.
would it be helpful if that was listed on the agenda, if it's under consent, if the address was listed
Yep.
next to the name?
That's what I'm saying, is if we can, if there's something like that, or for the special events, include relevant information that will help inform the public. My concern is that we've done a lot of work over the last couple of years to really help the public be more, to understand more what we're doing and the things that we're talking about up here and the decisions that we're making. And so I just want to continue to be transparent. So things like special events, I mean, I've always wondered, why do we have to go through this approval process every single time? But I think things that are important there, it is a public, it is a good way of publicizing that these things are happening. So perhaps with something like special events, you include the organizer of the event and the date of the event. And with, as I said, like the handicap parking application, include the street address, not necessarily the person's name. You know, I just think that if it's a person next to me and I know that parking is a real challenge, you know, maybe I want to be aware that that's going to be happening. So, yeah, so that would be my request.
Those are good
The consent
suggestions, and I think
agenda.
we can definitely work with it. And like I said, I think this is definitely going to be just a little bit of a learning curve for all of us as we implement this. And like you said, Mary, the intent is to still stay transparent and to make sure everybody has an opportunity to speak when they want to and talk to whatever topics they want to, but just to leave more time for that on certain things. So those are good suggestions. I'm sure that we'll be able to work those in as we move forward. Anyone else up front have any comments on this resolution? Okay, we'll open it up to the public to see if they have any thoughts on this resolution. No? Okay.
Means they get home earlier, so hopefully.
Oh,
I would move that we approve resolution number 1023 to use the consent agenda.
thank you. Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next we'll move on to resolution 1024. It's a fee repeal, and we have several people that may or may not speak to this. I don't know who wants to jump in.
I can take this. This actually came up in a zoning and code enforcement committee, just as we were looking at some other fees. And we have a bicycle registration fee of $2 that really, how many bicycles have we had registered?
I think one is shown on the budget. Chief Hahn might be able to correct me, but I've seen $2 basically on the budget for the past few years.
So we would move that, we would suggest that that bicycle registration fee be eliminated or repealed. The other one is the plumber's annual license fee of $25. I think as we discussed this one, it's a lot of work, not only for our staff, but for the plumbers who have to do this. And we generally are seeing, we're seeing permits coming in. And do you want to say something more to this, Elijah?
Sure. This was brought up to me by my neighbor who is a contractor who was working on his own house, and he works in other municipalities and just had to laugh why he had to get a plumber's license in Lititz Borough, and in no other municipality that he works in. And then I think at one point it was meant to have oversight over people that are doing plumbing work, maybe connecting directly to our system, but we don't require this of any other contractor, and we do have a permitting process in place. So in order to be equitable with everyone, we felt it was probably time to retire this.
So those are the two, the plumber's annual license fee of $25 and the bicycle registration fee of $2.
That's it for that.
That's it.
Any questions or comments on that from council? Not seeing any. Any from the public? Nope. Okay. Back to a motion.
Move that we approve resolution 1024, the fee repeal.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Got through resolutions. The next item is the consent agenda. As in advance of moving into that, would it be possible under this discussion that's open to council to be able to indicate the address and the date for those two events? Is that something that we could?
Yes, I don't have those handy though.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
So I'll take them in order. The Souder Egg Run is sponsored by Souder Egg. That is scheduled for April 25th of 2026. The handicap parking application is 21 South Spruce Street. I think it should be noted there's currently a handicap spot within a short distance of there at a different address that is no longer needed. So it would essentially be moving the sign to where the current applicant needs it, and then freeing up the parking space in front of the address that no longer needs it. So it's not actually adding an additional handicap spot, it's just shifting it to adjust where the need is.
Great.
All right, that was very helpful. Thank you. Okay, so now we got those two items filled in from our previous discussion. Are there any other items that anyone would like to make a comment on or suggest that they be pulled out?
Just clarification on the purchases, Public Works bucket truck and the police department capital purchases, those are all budgeted expenses. Have we met all of the procurement requirements for those? Or will those be met in the process that's being initiated
They'll
by
be
our
met-
action?
They'll be met in the process, and they're all approved part of the budget, yes.
Thank you.
Great question. Any others?
Oh, one more. The HVAC bills, do we anticipate more coming in from that, or is this going to be
The pay app number 4 is the final pay app.
final? Okay.
And I guess just to clarify that the things that are being advertised, there will be an opportunity to speak to each of those independently at the next meeting. Those will not be on the consent agenda at
Correct.
that meeting.
Right. Yeah, this
So
is
this
simply
is
the
just-
advertisement.
Right. And where will people find those documents if they want to review any of that?
So the ordinances we typically put on the website for public review in advance of the hearing.
Thank you.
Great. That was good discussion. Do we have any comments on the consent agenda from the public this evening? No? Okay. Looks like we're up for a motion on the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Next, we have the treasurer's report. Rob?
Hard copies in front of you for everyone. It's a little bit of a different format than if you're on council last year. Just a brief synopsis. It covers all of our major funds, well, actually all of our funds. And also included is a copy of each check that was cut from January 1st to Friday.
I appreciate the format, very concise and familiar. Thank you. Okay.
I can't remember. Yeah, I appreciate the format. Oh, I guess one of my question is, do we have we adopted a policy that allows staff to make payments during the month? I'm guessing we have, since you do all of that. Okay.
What do you mean, Mary? Make payments?
Well, I think sometimes council has to approve all of the payments before they can be
Oh,
made, like the ones that we just approved. But there are standard routine payments that staff has the authority to make without bringing
Gotcha.
to us.
Yep.
It might be helpful at the next meeting to have a little bit more clarity on what that is, just so that all of council understands. Some of us attended a training that's put on by the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs all day Friday and Saturday. It was great fun. And we learned all kinds of things that staff is going to be like, oh, we're never sending them again. But yeah, so some of these questions are a result of some of the things that we've learned, and I think we're never too old to keep learning things. So we're all here to support each other and just appreciate your patience with us.
Great. Maybe that's something we can add to the treasurer's report for the February meeting.
Taking notes.
Thanks. There is one invoice that was separated out that I will be recusing myself on, but this is the December David Miller invoices from work that was done 2025. I think we would need to act on that to the treasury report section.
Do we need a motion to pay that bill then? Is that right?
Yeah, just approve the treasurer's report and then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the rest of the financial was under consent agenda, so this one was pulled out for the recusal.
Okay. So I will move to approve the treasurer's report.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And
And
are
the-
you prepared to, who's handling the next item?
Do we still need to do the December?
Pay the bill. Yeah.
Pay the bill. Okay. Motion to approve the December David Miller invoice to pay?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Recuse? Opposed? No? Okay. So that gets us through the first page of the agenda. And then we move into council members forum. As we start that, I didn't have a better time to say it this evening. I did want to publicly thank our Public Works Department. I think we have one representative here this evening. Yes. a round of applause. They got us here tonight. I walked myself here to the meeting. You can hardly even tell it snowed in the first block of Main Street. It looks amazing. So while we're all at home in the warm, you guys are out working, and we really appreciate everything that you guys do. So thank you very much for that.
Can I just add to that I want to thank our mayor for his leadership in the declaring the snow emergency, talk about jumping right in with both feet, and to the police department and fire departments for their work in this environment. It is a tough environment to be working in, and just appreciate everybody's efforts around this.
Thank you, and I'll expand upon that during my report.
Okay.
Thanks. So the first item is subcommittee and liaison assignments. I did put at everyone's seat the 26 council subcommittee assignments and the liaison and regional committee assignments. The only minor change that I want to make to that is we do have one venture Lititz we had listed as to be determined. We're also going to leave the regional community development committee as to be determined at this point, and we're going to work through that and hopefully have something back by the February meeting where we can assign a council representative to those committees. But is there any discussion on these? I believe you all had a chance to take a look at them ahead of time. So the next big thing will be to see when your meetings are and dive in. There's some work to do with these. This is sort of the meat of what we do, where we get involved in these committees and sort of make things happen. I want to thank
Don't
everybody.
be afraid to ask questions.
Yes, yes, as many questions as you want, but I appreciate everybody's willingness to step in and take many assignments on these lists.
Yeah, and appreciate your leadership on this, Scott. I do want to note, I think there is one merged committee, the Employee Personnel Benefits and Insurance. That was two committees previously, I believe.
Yep, that was a suggestion that we had received.
And then just clarifying the Buildings, Grounds, and Parks, and then splitting out the municipal stormwater work, which I think is valuable, and it reflects the way that we work, that we have separate committee meetings for those things. And so just appreciate your leadership and everybody's flexibility, and really excited to be working with some new council members on some of this.
Yep, we have a lot of work to do in 26, so I think that's the first step to get everybody signed up for those. Next thing that we have, in Jerry's absence is, sorry.
Vote to approve this, or do you just assign them?
The president assigns it, so
Okay.
there's not any approval.
Okay.
Thank you. So we'll move on to the next item. We have appointments for committees. Councilperson Meck is absent this evening on some personal business, so I agreed to run through these for him. First, we have a proposed appointment for the Lititz Borough Parks Committee. I will read what I was given here. Amy Holland is being introduced for appointment to the Lititz Borough Parks Committee. Amy has lived in the borough since 2002 and is a self-employed potter and art teacher. She currently volunteers as a gardener at the Moravian Church and with the Lititz Art Association. Amy previously served on the Historic Committee, has experience teaching and working with individuals of all ages. She is active in continuing education through Penn State Master Gardeners and is pursuing a Habitat Advocate certification through the Lancaster Conservancy. Her interest in gardening and her passion for the present and future of Lititz Parks uniquely qualify her for a membership in the committee. Does anyone have any questions about that proposed appointment?
Nope, I'm excited to make a motion to approve Amy. I actually had recommended that she apply for this position, and just she had expressed some interest in some of the things that were happening on our public grounds, and we're really excited to be adding more and more people from our communities to some of our boards and commissions and expanding some of the voices. So I appreciate Amy applying, and I am happy to make a recommendation for approval of the nomination of Amy Holland.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One opposed. Thank you. I was informed that Amy really wanted to be here this evening, but unfortunately caught some sort of bug over the weekend and was under the weather, so was not able to be here this evening. The next one we have is for an alternate to the Planning Commission, and we have proposed tonight Jason Burkholder for that appointment. Jason has been a resident of Lititz Borough since 2012 and is the owner of Hometown Property Sales in Lititz. His business has been active, has been supportive of many local events, and Jason volunteers and serves with several local nonprofit organizations. He has experience in land use planning and real estate and supports smart growth planning and creative zoning solutions for affordable housing. Jason has attended numerous Lititz Borough Council meetings and is highly committed to assisting in the well-being of the community. Anyone have any questions or comments on the proposal for Jason to be an alternate on the Lititz Planning Commission?
Again, a stellar applicant from our community and a new voice, although Jason has volunteered to be involved in the Regional Plan Implementation Committee work, specifically around housing. So again, I am happy to make a nomination for a person who I think will be a fabulous addition to our team in nominating Jason Burkholder for alternate to the Planning Commission.
Thank you for the nomination. A second to that nomination?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nope. Okay. We're through the appointments.
If I can, I think that we are going to be putting up a notice soon in the news of the borough looking for any specific committees. I think we have an opening on the Lititz Borough Authority and maybe others. So if you are interested in serving, be sure to check the borough news and submit your application. It's easy.
Do you have some info on that, Elijah?
We also, how to reach it or other openings?
No, I guess how it's going to be put out.
So I was going to put the notice on the website under the news. There is a link to volunteer applications are always under residential portal, but we're just going to highlight it a little bit. The other vacancy we have, aside from the authority, which I think we currently have two, is the Historic Area Advisory Committee.
Okay.
But if there's something that you're interested in that doesn't have a vacancy, fill out the application anyway, because we keep it and follow up when there is one.
Yep. Never know when an opening will come up.
Thanks, Elijah.
Great. Okay, next we're going to move on to reports by the mayor and the chief of police. We'll start with the mayor.
All right, thank you, President Hayne. The good news is as of 7 p.m. tonight, the emergency declaration has been lifted with the exception of East 2nd Avenue from Broad Street over to Oak Street. There's still some snow there. It needs to be removed. So hopefully we have declared that will be open at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And then at that point, the declaration has been is terminated. I also want to send my commendations to the Public Works guys. The first night of the storm, they did a double shift, followed by an extended shift the following days. Very little sleep, nonstop, taking care of the roads, making sure the streets are open and the sidewalks to the best of their ability. I think they did a phenomenal job. The equipment held up for the most part. A couple breakdowns early during the course of the storm due to the extreme cold and the excessive amount of snow. The guys got the equipment running again, and everything is intact. So we've been fortunate in that respect. We did have to bring in 3 additional loads, trucks coming in tomorrow to help move the excessive amount of snow that's built up on Water Street, which is the location that we used for dumping the snow. Also want to thank the public. So asking folks to stay away from parking restrictions, driving restrictions. There are only 4 vehicles towed over the course of the weekend. So the public cooperated. And I think we need to make it, say a big thank you to our citizens. No accidents. So it's also an accommodation to people who are staying home and allowing our public works guys to do their job. Thanks to the chief as well for making sure everybody's safe during that time period. So it's actually, we got through this storm with very little damage in terms of the big picture. But again, lots of work from lots of people, from our public works staff to our staff here to the public at large. And I think most importantly, when I walked around town, I saw so many examples of neighbors helping neighbors. And that's what Lititz is about. Those little acts of kindness I've seen throughout the borough. And it's without those acts of kindness, it's what gets us through these kind of emergencies. So thank you to everybody for that. I'd like to turn over to Chief for the police report.
Thank you. I'd just like to highlight just a couple of items that I think are noteworthy over the last month since we met last. In the beginning of January, we had our on-site reassessment for our accreditation status through the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association. Every 3 years, a team of assessors will come on site here. They review our policies, our procedures. We have to show proofs of standard compliance that we're actually doing what the policies and procedures say that we're supposed to do. I'm happy to report that there were 0 issues found. It was about as clean of an assessment as physically possible with this. So the next steps will be the team had prepared a report which goes back to the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission of the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association. At their next business meeting, they meet quarterly. They will vote upon reaccrediting the agency for another 3 years. As a reminder, we are a top tier level accredited agency, premier status. That tier represents less than about 1% of all law enforcement in the Commonwealth. And we were the first borough police department in the entire Commonwealth to receive that top tier level of accreditation. So with the next commission meeting's vote, I'm assuming, obviously based off the report findings, there'll be no issues, that we will be bestowed another 3-year accreditation status as a premier agency. So just put that out there. I mean, it's a commitment by the entire agency. You know, accreditation is not an administrative tool that the chief imposes down on the agency. It touches every level, every corner of the agency. And in order for it to be successful, every officer and every staff member needs to buy into the value of the standards and best practices. And I think the near perfect assessment speaks to their commitment to the community. So I wanted to highlight that. The next item, obviously the weather, we've talked about it a little bit here tonight. Snow to that degree certainly creates operational challenges. I'm happy to report, you know, the efficiency of the team, our officers working throughout the weekend, no major issues as far as our operations go. Big thanks to the mayor for his collaboration with the declaration of the emergency, Public Works for the work that they had to put in, communicating with council and the community members, collaborating with the fire company and the ambulance. The only way things work well is through collaboration with other borough agencies and leaders. So just wanted to express my appreciation not only to our team, but to, you know, everybody from the borough, residents, staff members, public safety partners for making it work well. So thank you. The probably one of the items of more significance over the weekend was a house fire in the 600 block of South Cedar Street. I want to take this opportunity to just commend the good work of our officers and in partnership with Lititz Fire Company, who quickly responded. So for anyone who's not familiar with this property, it's in the 600 block of South Cedar Street. It's an 8-unit row home, and the fire started in the middle of the row. So the home that's right dab in the middle pretty much was where the fire started. It happened shortly after 2 a.m. So that creates certain challenges because at 2 a.m., people are slower to recognize that there is an emergency, and that can affect their ability to safely get out. Passages that are exits that would normally be available may not be due to the delay. And at that time of morning, it's a safe assumption that most people are probably asleep. So this fire, the officers were dispatched to it. They respond like they do every other fire call. They were on the scene. It was less than 2 minutes from the time that the 911 dispatch went out until the time that the first officer arrived on the scene. So the conditions that they found, the fire was on the outside of the house in the back. Going up the house, it had started to impinge the soffitting. And anybody who's familiar with some basic building construction, once the fire gets into a soffit and an open void space, it can run laterally in either directions. So stopping the fire before it gets up into the soffitting prevents the fire from spreading, and the associated risk to life and to property that growth potentially impacts. So our officers arrived on the scene, deployed 2 fire extinguishers, controlled the fire until the fire company was able to arrive, and really kept what was a bad situation from being potentially tragic with, 8 row house units with people sleeping inside. So I don't want to speak for the fire company because obviously Deputy Commissioner Smith is here, but I certainly think that the actions of those officers coupled with the fire company certainly prevented a tragedy that night. So I just wanted to highlight that, the officers were there, they were quick, they partnered with the fire company, and certainly I think prevented a tragedy. So I spoke to it because I think it's important to hear it. I have a short, that's about a minute video that I think adds an additional dimension so you can actually see what I just presented to you, because I think seeing it through your own eyes just adds value to it. So, Rob, if you don't mind. I think seeing it is just, it adds value to what I try to convey to the council and to the mayor and to staff and to the public. I'd also want to mention that several of our officers are both current and former members with the fire company and the ambulance, so they bring that training and that experience and that background with them to situations like this. And again, I don't think it's any exaggeration to say that as quickly as the fire company got there, even another minute or two of this fire going unchecked would have been certainly a different outcome in terms of both damage and life safety. So with that said, those are the items I wanted to hit for the report this month. Happy to entertain any questions if there are any, though.
No, thank you, and congratulations again on the accreditation. That's really something. I mean, we're almost used to it here. I mean, because you guys have done that for so long, but like you said, it's 1% of the municipalities that get that. So that's really something to be proud of.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, Jared. Were there any families displaced as a result of the fire?
Mike might have a better answer for that.
No, because of the actions of the officers, we were able to contain the fire to the outside, so we didn't have to condemn the units. So everyone was able to return at the end of the night.
Fabulous.
So, and there probably is body cam footage of me saying to those officers exactly what Jared said. As soon as I got there, I was like, you guys made a huge difference. So everything Jared said is spot on.
Great.
So.
Thank you.
And one more thing, there's
Yeah.
one thing that all firefighters and police officers have in common. They all want to be firefighters.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to petitions, correspondence, and questions.
And
Oh, sorry. Managing directors, one ahead of myself. Rob, your name's first.
Okay, two things. One to call out from my report, under sewer system there, letter A, we are working on some proposed ordinance changes to the maintenance and responsibilities of the sewer laterals, trying to match that up to what our historical practices have been, and also to make it more clear about who's responsible for what. And the other update I have is that the field audit work is scheduled for the week of February 9th. We expect Brown Plus to be here probably 4 days. I don't think all 5, but definitely 4.
Great. Turn to the other side. Elijah, do you have anything to add?
Usual runabout line update, which is we still don't have an agreement, although I did get confirmation from our engineering contact that he's working on it regularly. He did get some feedback for our grant consultant about the work that they need to self-perform. So that was sent off this morning. The other thing is that there is a DCNR grant that is open for right away. It could be used for park acquisition. I am looking into that grant, and actually as part of that we need an appraisal of the right of way. So I gave Real Pro Valuation the go ahead early in January, and they're working on an appraisal for that. The deadline for that C2P2 grant is end of April, so we have some time. We will need a resolution for that, so I'll expect that request probably for the next council meeting. The last item is skate park phase 4 was supposed to begin this week. Probably isn't going to be beginning this week, but he's hopeful to get out there as soon as possible and hopefully have it open by the end of February. So if things melt, that'll probably happen. If not, we might be pushed back a little bit.
Great, thanks for the update. Now we'll move on to number 8. Do we have any petitions or correspondence? Guessing not, we would have heard about it. Okay, open it up to the public. Does anyone in the public have something that they would like to bring up this evening? If so, come up to the microphone. No? Nobody's jumping up?
I believe there was one correspondence that wasn't it in the pack.
There were some in the packets, but if they're not particularly pressing, we don't necessarily. Now, if you want to highlight it, you are welcome to do that.
Oh, I don't know. I just saw that we had one. I mean, I don't know. Peggy or Jim, did you want to speak to the correspondence that you sent, or I saw? Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
However you're
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I will just say thank you for your correspondence, and we did have a conversation in regards to your concerns about the discussions that we're having about the school resource officer and responding to the school district's need. So, yeah, thank you for your correspondence on that issue. We appreciate your sharing your thoughts on that one. The question was, how will the conversation with the school district proceed? Mayor, do you want to take that one?
Yeah,
He's,
happy to take
he's
that.
kind of stepping in and leading this now.
Could you give maybe just a little background into what we're talking about, and if there's other people that don't know about the SRO?
Sure, in the background, like, predates me, of course, but the previous council and the school district have been in conversations about the acquisition of an SRO at the school district. Obviously, the question becomes, if so, and if it deemed appropriate, how is it going to be paid for? So those are the discussions that are currently taking place. So Mary, myself, Chief, and the school district, also in attendance was one of the school board members, are having ongoing conversations about that particular item. Right now, the conversations are continued till about the first week of February. So we're going to get together again at that point and see where things stand.
In the public?
At this point, it's more of a negotiations process. Certainly, any type of agreement that would be potentially established with the school district would have to come to the council. At that point, the public would have full participation on that issue.
Township?
They are not.
No.
It's just at this point, it's understood. That's certainly a concern of mine as well. And at this point, nothing's been agreed upon. We're talking.
And obviously there's a long-term cost. Pension, hiring a new person, potentially 2 bench salary at once, or well.
Jim, can you come up to the microphone and identify yourself for the people online, please? And that way they can hear your comments.
Hi, Jim Smith, 511 South Cedar. And not to go into a long story, but Peggy and I just started attending different community meetings, learned about things, and it's like, whoa, what? Who, when, where? and it seemed like a snowball that was rolling down the hill. We saw articles in the paper saying what was happening. We're like, wait a minute, this has to be discussion. So part of the question is, how does this work? I mean, certainly there's a couple of issues, right? And it's not for the council, but for the schools to decide, do we need an SRO? what analyses, what evidence do they have? Maybe we need more than one. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but the public has no idea what's going on. That's all of a sudden, oh, we're going to do this. And oh, the townships aren't going to participate. And oh, so the borough's going to step up. But the borough doesn't really have any money. And then how does this work? It seems non-transparent. To use a buzzword, I guess. But we don't really have a feel. And everyone we talk to, nobody's ever even heard of it within the borough. Our neighbors are like, what are we talking about? And it just seems, I don't know, underhanded or something. There's no discussion. So the question is,
Yeah.
how does this proceed? And at what point are we told that a decision has been made? And it's like, well, wait a minute, can we talk about this? It just seems a little.
Jim, I can try and provide you with a little bit of a background on the process and how we got to where we are.
Sure.
That may be helpful. A year ago, almost a year ago, I think to this month, the council received a letter from the school district requesting that we assign a school resource officer to the school district. From there, there was a delay in response to that letter. And then there have been subsequent meetings with the school district to try to find out what exactly it is they need.
Between the council and the school district?
Members of the council, we can't conduct business and make decisions out of this public forum. So I personally take that very seriously, as do my fellow council members here. And so when you have a request for a service like this to an outside partner, it's a little challenging. There have been a number of challenges in just trying to understand how can we make this happen. From a budgeting standpoint, our budget cycles don't align, so they operate on a fiscal year, July 1 to June 30th. We operate on a calendar year. So what you read in the paper about council included the half year's expense for the school resource officer in the budget. We did that assuming that there would be equal revenues to balance out that expense. That's the part of the story that isn't complete in the representation that was in the newspaper. So there has been no commitment on the part of council that Lititz Borough residents will assume the responsibility for this. I join you in my disappointment that this is not, the burden of this isn't falling on the residents of Warwick Township and Elizabeth Township. I join you in that, and I think you've heard me say enough about concern about people's living expenses and so forth that we honestly cannot afford to, and we should not. It is not
fair.
a just process if the borough residents, we already pay for the police services for the entire school district, with the exception of one school that's outside the district, but we do still respond to that one if I'm not misspeaking. So do you want to speak to this at all, Jared? I don't want to make it too complicated, and this item was not on the agenda, so I also hesitate to talk too much about it. I think we need to be a little careful about that.
I think you can answer the questions.
Okay.
Just if there's not anything, because this did come up in public comment, so you can answer those questions. But any sort
Right.
of deliberation about what should be done or shouldn't be done should be done in a future agenda.
Right. So we will do that. And as the mayor said, the next step would be for there to be some type of an agreement should the school district come back to us with an offer that they are willing to pay something that we think will be acceptable to council, which I think you've heard a number of us say. There is, we're already shouldering an unfair burden of the cost. So the next step for us would be to bring an agreement, a draft agreement to council to have deliberation publicly about whether this is something that we can move forward with. So we don't mean to be doing something behind the public's backs or being less than fully transparent. It's just that it is a very complicated type of situation when you've got two different institutions with different boards and different financial calendars and commitments. So I would ask that any of you who are inclined to do so go to school board meetings and ask the questions of them, because really they're the ones, we cannot answer the question about what they investigated and how they arrived at their decision. What we know is that they requested a school resource officer, which is a police officer that would be hired by our borough police department.
Right. And it seems like, we have this premier police force. I think we all acknowledge that. And it's in a great shape, great place. And now we're looking to muddy it up, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? What are we doing here? Have we really counted all the costs? Going forward, it adds up.
Well,
there's lots
we'll try to
consider.
answer, we'll do our best to answer those questions and provide clarity when and if a proposal is brought before council.
Very good, thanks.
And it's entirely possible there will not be a proposal because we may
It
not
is
reach an
possible.
agreement.
Yeah,
Yep.
Right.
sure, understood. Yeah, right. Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you for,
Jim.
thank you for attending our meetings and participating. We need that. Thank you.
If we don't have any other,
I just
Tom?
have
Oh.
one other thing. We received our invitation to the quarterly County Boroughs Association meeting, and several of us will be attending that meeting tomorrow night.
all of us that you're looking at.
Yeah.
So we can bring updates back. We can bring updates back to next month's meeting about what we learned at that and how things are going in other boroughs around the county. I did have one item for council members to make sure you add to your calendar. The March 10th meeting, it would be the first meeting in March that we typically don't have, but we are going to be calling that meeting. We are going to be having a presentation by Wesk and possibly a second presentation. I did not hear. Did you hear confirmation on that, Elijah?
I haven't reached out yet because I was waiting until we're definitely having it.
Sure.
So
Okay, we'll
I-
find out.
they usually look to come then, so I would think they would most likely, but I'll
Okay.
confirm.
Yeah, I think we'll be having two presentations from Wesk, a year end, and then we're having what's the other one? Hazard mitigation plan.
Oh, that's
So anybody that wants to come out for an extra meeting, if you don't get enough council in one meeting a month, we're going to have two in March. So come out and see and that meeting will basically just be the presentations. We're trying to look at opportunities through the year where we may call that first meeting. It won't be every month, but it will be some months to take some of the burden off of this meeting to allow for more time to discuss business. And then at those meetings to focus on the presentations from the different organizations that need to or want to come to us and enlighten us on what they're doing. So that's the goal of that effort. So that's a little bit different than what you've seen in the past. I don't believe we've really called that first meeting in a long time, probably. So keep an eye out for that. That will be posted on the website so everybody knows about it and can come out and attend that. Anything else from council this evening?
motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're done. Thank you, everyone.